My name is Theo Morrison, and I'm the Executive Director of Lahaina Restoration Foundation. I've been in that position for 11 years, and prior to that I did other work in Lahaina with nonprofit community groups. So in total, it's about 28 years working directly in downtown Lahaina. What's so unique about Lahaina compared to any other place in Hawaii is that during every era of Hawaii's history, Lahaina was a dominant place. And doubly unique to that whole situation is that the history has been saved. Lahaina is a tapestry of remnants from all these different eras. The whaling era was actually very short. It was only like about 30 years. It started around 1830 and it ended in 1860. And there's also a lot of misinformation about what Lahaina was during the whaling era. Lahaina was never the whale capital of the Pacific. That was a misnomer that was kind of developed during the 70s as a marketing tool for Lahaina. It never was that. The whaling ships came here not to kill whales. They came here, or even look at whales like they do now. They came here to reprovision. So they'd come from the east coast of the United States, and that's a long trip, that's 6 months to get here. So they'd get here and then they'd reprovision here, which was great for the town, economically for the town, and for the farmers. And then they would take off and go up to the Arctic to kill whales. And then on the way back, when they're full of, sometimes they stayed up there for like 3 years, they'd come back, and again, they'd stop here and reprovision, and then head back home. And when they stopped here, each whaling ship had like about 30 guys on it, and their basic theory was there was no God west of the Horn, and so they were here to party and drink and really created a lot of ruckus, which is why the old Lahaina prison was actually constructed. And if you read the letters, like from Dr. Baldwin, he wrote lots and lots of letters. The missionaries were on the side of the Hawaiians, constantly trying to curb the drinking and the carousing that went on when these whaling ships were in the port. Sometimes there was up to 100 ships in Lahaina with 30 guys on each ship that had been away from all the good things in life for 3 years. So yeah, it was pretty bad. And what missionaries were trying to do was stop the sale of alcohol here. And they did for a couple of years. They were able to do that. And the ship captains, who actually came right here to the Master's Reading Room, that's why it's called that, they totally supported that too. But it was just extremely difficult to do that. There's a lot of grog shops up and down Front Street, because that's what these guys wanted. But it all came to a screeching halt when they started to kill so many whales that the whales diminished in number. So they had to go further and further north. So in the 1860s, a huge number of whaling ships were actually caught in the ice up north and were destroyed. All the men were able to escape in their little whaling boats to another ship that wasn't stuck in the ice. But that was a huge blow to the whaling industry, and then shortly after that they discovered oil. And that just put the end to the whole thing. So it was like the crash of the stock market for Lahaina. It was huge. During the whaling era, Kamehameha III saw how the whaling ships were having trouble getting in at night, trying to see where the harbor was. So he built a lighthouse. It was the first lighthouse in the Pacific. When it was first built, it was lit with whale oil. Then it transitioned to kerosene at the end of the whaling era. Then it transitioned to electric. And now, in 2009, it transitioned to solar. Although not the same structure, obviously, but the same place still exists. It's still a functioning lighthouse at Lahaina Harbor. To me, that one structure exemplifies what the historic district is. Through all those eras of Lahaina's history, starting with the whaling era, it's been doing its job. All this turmoil and change took place, and it just continues to do its job till today, guiding ships into the harbor.